Tim Ring joining us now as he's kind of done all season long. Tim, let's do big picture here with the Cardinals.
All right, hit me up.
How would you define this season? Like, Cardinal fans, I think, are searching for, like, looking back on it, yeah, they got more wins, but they get to the playoffs, and did we see this and did we see that? So paint the picture for Cardinal fans.
Well, you know what?
Look back on this year, what do you think?
Yeah, Cam, it's a messy picture. It's really hard to just paint it one way and hang it up on the wall and say, look at what we did here in 2024. It's not that simple. I wish it was. I mean, look, I don't think anybody should be satisfied, whether you're a Cardinal fan or certainly anybody in that organization, the way this season came down post-bye week. I mean, look, I get it. We can look at the positives and we can say you doubled your win total from a year ago. You went from 4 to 8. You were in the playoff hunt into December. You were playing meaningful football, as JG likes to say, in December. But, I mean, you can't hide from the fact or disguise the fact that this team through week 10 was 6-4, and they were essentially in the catbird seat to win the division. And to go 2-5 after the bye week, I think Monty Ossenfort probably has lost a lot of sleep. Jonathan Gannon as well, trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, and what do we have to do next year so it doesn't ever happen again.
Yeah, that nosedive was tough, and I'm sure there will be some type of something changes moving forward. Tim, what did you like, though? When you look back on the year, what did you like about this team?
I honestly, this sounds funny because I just kind of went against that, but I did like the fact that they doubled their win total. Sure. I did like the fact that they were...
Which is why it's a messy picture, right?
Right, and Cam, I mean, I know they don't give out medals for losing games, but I mean, you hung on the field with Buffalo. You were on the field with Detroit for 4 quarters with a chance to win that football game. You did double your win total to get to 8. I mean, there was a lot to like. Individually, the emergence of Trey McBride continues. Not only one of the best tight ends in football, I think when you talk about young tight ends right now, I mean, he's right there with Kittle and Kelsey.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
he's no doubt.
I mean, maybe a notch below before the season.
It's not a big gap.
I'm not even sure it's a notch down anymore. I think Nick Rawls is one of the best young defensive coordinators in football. I think that defense performed far beyond the sum of its parts. And that offensive line, which was banged up and beleaguered and missing, guys pretty much each and every week, second half of the season, I thought they did an outstanding job.
What did you not like when you look at this?
Well, Cam, I don't like how they came out of the bye week. You could have lived with the loss at Seattle.
Tough place, yeah.
And at Minnesota.
Sure.
And they were in a position to win both those games. I don't like the way they played those 2 particular games, but you could survive those. To me, when they came back home and they lost to that Seattle Seahawks team, and I know the Carolina game was coming down the road as well. To me, when you lose that Seattle game, that was the very first and a very strong indication that this thing was now off the tracks. Something was wrong. Yeah. The magic of pre-bye week was gone, and I'm not sure they were able to get it back. In fact, I know they weren't able to get it back. Kyler Murray's not going anywhere, and I understand the polarizing nature of the quarterback, and some people are off the ship now. Some people remain on the ship. Maybe they're going down with the ship. I don't know. But I do know this. He's going to be, unless Jonathan Gannon's the worst liar of all time or the best liar of all time, Kyler Murray's going to be back next year. You got to get him more help in that receiving corps.
And Tim will join us on 12 Sports tonight to continue going on with what this team needs. It's a long list, just like the painting. It's kind of messy.
I almost had to go. I almost had to go to
look at
2 pages.
Right, this is what this whole regime has been building towards, right? When you talk about JG and Monty Ossenfort.
Oh, I think you're exactly right. I mean, next season will be year 3, right? So this is the 3rd off season for Monty Ossenfort. Cam, let's be honest. I mean, it's got to happen in year 3 when you talk about exponential growth. And I think when we talk about growth, we're talking about making the playoffs, whether by winning the division or earning a wild card spot. But not only getting to the playoffs, being competitive in the playoffs and trying to make some noise. If it's not this year, what are we talking about? A 4-year rebuild? That's not going to be acceptable to Cardinals
We've seen other teams flip it around, like the Commanders, flip it around much faster. Like they have to. Playoffs is like minimum this year.
Right, and it's going to come down to, okay, assessing the roster. Where do we need to get better?
Yep.
That's obviously Monty's job. You can do that in a couple of different ways. Obviously, the draft, and then free agency. And free agency, to me, Cam, is going to be the interesting one because I understood why they weren't actively big game hunting in 2023. It didn't make sense given the place of the team at that point. The next year, 2024 free agency, I was a little less understanding that they didn't go out and maybe get some guys who are immediate difference makers. Well, this has to be the year. Okay,
you need those difference. That was the difference in the season almost, right?
4 or 5 difference makers out of free agency or the draft. however you get them, could be the difference between winning 8 games like they did this year and winning 11 or maybe even 12 next year. So, but it's not that simple. Monty has to draft the right guys, obviously, and he's got to have the budget to go out there and spend in free agency. I mean, don't go bargain basement shopping again to try to plug up holes, plug in guys. It's the time now when you're an 8-win team to get over that hump, be a playoff team, win the division, which is ripe for the taking, by the way. Go out and spend some money. I mean, Josh Sweat is a guy that's going to be on the free agent market, okay? Edge rusher, 27 years of age.
Perfect.
JG system, they played, coached together in Philly. Like, there's a guy, put him number 1 on the list. T. Higgins, wide receiver, could be the great number 2 complement to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Which they need.
Here's the thing, Cam. What you do in free agency changes how you approach that 16th pick if you stay there in the first round of the draft. I mean, you look at some names like B.J. Hill out of the Bengals defensive tackle. If you're able to sign a guy like that, maybe your needs change in the first round of the draft. So there are guys out there. They're going to cost some money. Maybe you can find a starting guard to play alongside Will Hernandez. Speaking of which, you got to re-sign your own guys, the guys that you want, like Will Hernandez, like a Kaiser White. So, I mean, there's a lot on the table for Monty Ossenfort between now and the draft, and then obviously draft night will be critical as well.
Put your foot on the gas. Spend some of this north of $75 million in cap space that this team is going to have.
Yeah.
And put this team in position to contend.
And let me tell you this, cap space is a myth. When there's a will, there's a way.
We see the Chiefs do it, right?
100%. You just renegotiate contracts that are already in your building, just as long as guys don't give back money, and there's ways to do that. So if you want a player, you want 2, you want 3, you want to sign Sweat and Higgins and Amari Cooper and Trey Smith, the guard from the Chiefs, you can do it. Now that's not going to happen. But I mean, if you put your top 3 or 4 guys out there, no matter what they cost, there's a way to get them under the cap and get them in the